ついに待ち望んだ MLB 東京シリーズが東京ドームで開幕した。主役はもちろん、日本が世界に誇る野球界の超人、大谷翔平だ。ドジャースとカブスが激突する歴史的対戦で、スタジアムは大谷を一目見ようと5万人を超えるファンで超満員。試合前の練習にさえ1万5,000人が詰めかけるほどの異常な熱気に包まれた。試合開始直後から大谷は躍動した。初回、158キロの強し速球でカブス主砲の鈴木誠也を三振に仕留めると、球場は割れんばかりの大歓声に包まれた。その後も変化球を巧みに操り、7回を投げて11奪三振、無失点の圧巻ピッチング。まるでビートルズとビヨンセが同時に現れたような人気だ、と MLB 解説者スティーブン・ネルソン氏が絶賛した。また、打席でも4回に特大のツーランホームランを放ち、球場をさらに熱狂の渦に巻き込んだ。これで大谷は、MLB 通算175本目のホームランを記録し、日米通算ではすでに400本超えの偉業に王手をかけた。試合後、米メディアは、翔平の魔法だ、彼は別次元の選手、と最大級の称賛を送った。日本に帰ってきた大谷が、また新たな伝説を刻んだ瞬間だった。
Now for another Tokyo Series report presented by Guggenheim, and let's bring in Taylor McGregor. She covers the Cubs for Marquee. You can also see her right here on MLB Network throughout the Major League Baseball season, and she joins us now from Tokyo. And Taylor, first of all, you're joining us from the future, which is mind-blowing to me. It's 8:30, 8:45 in the morning there, so we appreciate you time traveling for us to join us here on MLB tonight.
Anything for you. There's not many people I would get up for, but Roflo, you're one of them.
Well,
so congratulations.
Thank you very much. Hey, you know, obviously Shohei Ohtani is the big, mega superstar, not only in Tokyo, but globally. But you know what? The Chicago Cubs, Seiya Suzuki and Shota Imanaga, who's getting the start during this Tokyo series, those are guys that are big superstars in their own right. How are they being received over there in their home country?
Well, it's funny because I joked with both of them that Shota was Taylor Swift and Seiya was Justin Bieber. And they sort of laughed back at me and said, yeah, you think we're up here, but really we're down here in comparison to Ohtani. And it's certainly clear that Ohtani's face is painted everywhere. He is the global superstar. But look, I think every Japanese baseball player playing in these two games have made an enormous impact on this country, and that goes with Imanaga and Seiya as well. There were so many Suzuki jerseys on the club or in the concourse level when I was walking around the stadium, and I said to Seiya, that has to make you so proud. And he said, I do feel a lot of pressure to come here and perform for those people. He was a young boy who would go to the Tokyo Dome and watch games, and now he has the chance as a Major League Baseball player to set the tone for the next generation. They feel pride in that, and they also feel a lot of pressure. So it's amazing the way that these people have received all of us. The Japanese people are just all about respect, and I think that's the number one word that comes to mind, just the way that they respect everything about the way that we take in baseball, and they want us to feel so welcome in their country, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, it is an amazing experience over there, I can tell you that. And look, you've been covering the Cubs now for a number of years. So you've seen this organization and this team over the last couple of years. And what have you noticed, or this is very early on in the early going, they haven't even played a regular season game yet, but what have you noticed about the atmosphere and what's going on inside that clubhouse between the players?
It's exciting. I think since I've been here, my first year was in 2020, so this is my 6th season. This is the best team that we have, or the Cubs have had since I have been here. So that is clear. I think everyone in that clubhouse really believes that as well. I think you look at bringing in Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley, and you could list some other moves as well. It was an indication to players, hey, we really want to try to go for this, win this National League Central, get into the playoffs, because that's where the Chicago Cubs belong. And so the players have bought into that, and they're really excited. They think they have a really, really good group. It's a group that's bonded. You have some veterans, some young players, and I think it's a good group to kind of get this season rolling. So these couple games against the Dodgers will certainly be a good litmus test.
Hey, Taylor, also coming over from the Astros was Ryan Presley. How has he looked so far, and what are the expectations for him as he returns to that closer role for the Cubs?
Yeah, he's been great. Not only has he looked good in games, but he's been a welcome presence out there in the bullpen because those guys bond really well. They talk a lot of baseball, and he's certainly been a welcomed addition. I think when it comes to Presley, everybody wants to talk about him being the closer, but when you talk to Craig Counsell and Roflo, this, Counts doesn't want to talk about the closer role. He wants to talk about another incredibly valuable guy at the back end of the bullpen who will get outs. He talks so much about needing 27 outs, and Presley is a proven reliever in high leverage situations, and having that at the back end of bullpens is so important, and that was something the Cubs really struggled with at the beginning of last season. So having someone with experience back there will be important for the Cubs and really set the tone early.
You bring up Craig Counsell, and this is where I was going to go with my next question anyway, so I'm glad you did. He was probably their marquee free agent they picked up last offseason. What have you seen from him going into his second season? Is he singing a different tune? Is there anything that he's doing a little bit differently to try to get more out of this club?
I think he just himself is a little bit more comfortable. You talk about coming in as the new guy and sort of the big free agent, which is never a role that managers really want, all the attention on them. But that was where he was a year ago. And he talked about stepping into the clubhouse and not knowing everyone's name, from the people who work at the front of the clubhouse to, everyone around. And now with a year of experience, you step in and you do know their names. And that has given him a sense of comfort. And it's also given him and Jed Hoyer and Carter Hawkins another year to work together and figure out what works for the best with them when it comes to communication and try sort of how they can help the roster grow throughout the season and different things that they can do. So I think that relationship is really important as well. And the experience from a year ago will certainly help.
Taylor, we'll get you out of here on this one. There are so many things that I want to when I make my first trip to Tokyo, there's so many things I want to do because of all the footage I've seen. But your trip to the cafe where they have the pigs running around, that might be number one on my list. It's called the Me Pig Cafe. I mean, this looks incredible, Taylor.
I'm so glad you've loved my Instagram content because the guys have been joking with me that it looks like I'm having the most fun, and I was like, which one of my 8 million Instagram posts is giving it away? But this, I'm with you, Roflo. This was at the top of the list. The Meat Pig Cafe was so cool. They have a bunch of different animal cafes here, so you can decide between a hedgehog, pigs. I mean, there's a whole list of cafes that you can go out to or go to out here. So it's been so much fun. I still have a lot to do, so keep following that Instagram content, Roflo. I will keep providing.
Now they don't cook the pigs there, right? They don't do
no,
that?
And
okay.
somebody was asking me if I called one bacon, and I'm like, that's just mean.
No, I'm just making sure. That's good. I'm glad they kept the nice theme going. Taylor, we appreciate you getting up early. Enjoy the game tonight, and we look forward to chatting with you down the road. Enjoy.
Thanks. Good to see you guys.
You too. Welcome back. MLB Tonight is presented by T-Mobile.
気持ちの面は、開幕に向けては
Being prepared for the opening game of the seasons, it's not that much differences, but the result, I had a regret last season, so I'm trying to more focus to have a better result. Two Japanese starting pitcher is facing each other, so that makes more special. So all I can say is try to hustle as much as I could on the field.
本当に、試合のことを考えると
When I think about the opening games, well, naturally start feeling the excitement as well as the responsibility. I'm always trying to be as who I am, no matter what the situation is. Trying to be as natural as I can. Well, I'd like to be tomorrow's outing. That the day I retired, the first thing I remember is gonna be tomorrow's game. That's something I'm hoping.
Yes, it will be the Cubs and the Dodgers, 6 a.m. Eastern on Fox. Yamamoto, Imanaga, that is your pitching matchup, the first of 2 games at the Tokyo Dome. I can't wait to see, first of all, the electricity, the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's going to be something special.
But also, I want to see these 2 guys go at it.
Yeah, and I said this earlier, right off the top, I think they're really going to be locked in. I think they are going to put on a show tomorrow. I think this is going to be a heck of a pitching duel, game 1 of the regular season.
Yeah, it is. If Yamamoto, Imanaga, Ohtani, and Suzuki all play as they're expected to, it would be just the third time in Major League history that 4 Japanese-born players started in the same Major League Baseball game, and it's the first of 2 between the Dodgers and Cubs in Tokyo, 6 a.m. Eastern on Fox, and of course, MLB Tonight, 9 a.m. Eastern. Ooh. To follow,
are you on that one?
I am not.
Oh, no, you need your 13 hours of sleep, right?
Yeah.
We're already rolling into that.
Wolin, who's in the booth, he is. And it's Greg Amsinger, Dan Plesac, and who else? Is that it?
How much?
Oh, and Harold from Japan.
How much coffee is Greg going to have before that?
I don't know. But time now for another Tokyo Series report presented by Guggenheim. Now, this is a photo of our former colleague, now current Dodgers broadcaster.
He's big time
Nelson.
now. He's big time.
Big time. Big time. Left Secaucus for Los Angeles. I bet you that was a tough decision.
It was tough. Yeah.
But this is from his Instagram. This is some photos of his family in Tokyo last year. They are not with him this year, but Steven is here. And he's also on MLB Tonight. He's covering the Dodgers and the Cubs. Remember, they get started bright and early stateside, 6 a.m. Eastern. And Nelly, good enough to join us here on MLB Tonight. Steven, you're about to go into your 3rd year as part of the Dodgers broadcast team. Just give us a sense of what the atmosphere is like. It looks absolutely bonkers, like people can't get enough of the Dodgers, of baseball, the whole thing.
Roflo, Rec, first of all, great to see you and hear from the crew behind the scenes. Hello from the future. It's Tuesday morning.
That's right.
So when we were flying in last week, I was talking to one of our Japanese staffers because I'm like the 87th most important Japanese person on this trip, the 187th, excuse me. And I was like, hey, what are you getting ready for? And she said, well, if you can imagine if the Beatles and Beyonce toured together. Wow. That's sort of what we're going to be flying into. And so that's like a multi-generational reference that everybody can understand. And when we landed at the airport, I mean, there are people just packed into the terminals to try and hold their phones over these security walls. They couldn't. People like on the street, lining the street where the buses pulled out of, just waving, thinking that maybe Shohei Ohtani or Yoshinobu Yamamoto were on the bus. And it was like, no, we're just the TV set.
They were waving to you.
Totally. But you jump ahead to the workout where, 10, 15,000 people packed into the Tokyo Dome just to watch practice. There wasn't even BP. It was just like stretching and grounders and light infield work. They just want to have a piece of this experience that is the Tokyo Series.
Yeah, look, Nelly, first of all, great to see you as well. Really happy to see you, and really happy for all your success that you've had over the last few years since you left here. But look, when I look at this Dodger team, they've, coming off the World Series win, there's been talk from outlets and from fans that they're the new evil empire, if you will. Have you felt any of that in camp? Like, what is their outlook, not necessarily on themselves, but how are they going about facing this season as opposed to others where they were still on the hunt and now they are the hunted?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rec, because it's interesting when you kind of juxtapose that sort of label and reputation of the new villains of baseball with the actual players and personalities that are on the team. Like, Shohei Ohtani's an angel. Like, Mookie Betts, everybody loves. Freddie Freeman is perhaps the most beloved player among all current major leaguers, right? You go down the list, and it's like, good guy. Tommy Edmonds, a saint. So, like, you go down the list, it's like, gosh, they don't really have many hateable guys. But I think just the collection of talent, given the state of not just Major League Baseball, but pro sports and how most of them seem to be run. I get why people do project that toward them. But I do think of, remember the bowler, Who Do You Think You Are, I Am?
Yeah, Pete Weber.
Pete Weber.
Pete Weber's a legend. So when he retired, he had a quote, and he said, whether you loved me or you hated me, you watched. And so whether you love the Dodgers and bleed Dodger blue, or you want to see this thing fail and fall, people are going to be watching in 2025.
Oh, absolutely.
Good way to put it right there.
We saw when some of the Justin Turner had a brief reunion with some of his former teammates there in Dodger blue, and had a chance to chat with Dave Roberts. What's that been like? Obviously, he's still beloved in that clubhouse.
Yeah, JT is just going to be one of those guys that forever and ever is at the top of minds, at the forefront of hearts in Dodger Nation. And, you know, we've seen him a few times since he left. Like the year after he went to Boston, the Dodgers visited Fenway. Then the next year he's in Toronto, the Dodgers visited Toronto. And then now this year, the Dodgers starting the year against him in Tokyo. There are some, Ryan Brazier was just traded, to the Cubs this offseason.
Yeah.
So there are some other ties, but I think for JT, given where he's at, in his career, and just one of those pillars of whatever clubhouse that he's in, and beloved wherever he goes, and that I think it's still tough for a lot of Dodger fans to see him wearing another uniform, but again, that's a guy that everybody's going to have. Just an immense amount of respect and adoration for, no matter where he's playing.
Nelly, you brought up the comparison of the Beatles and Beyonce. Shohei Ohtani,
yeah.
How would you describe how he's viewed over there? We know how he's viewed here. He's a he's a superstar, but how is he viewed over there?
Well, guys, actually, the whole reason why I'm set up in this hotel room, it's one of the few places in Japan that you don't see Shohei Ohtani's face plastered.
That would be weird if it was. Fair
point. Touche, Roflo. Yeah, it's walking down the street sometimes. It's like, hey, leave me alone, Sho. I'm trying to enjoy the country here. But no, there are heroes and there are superheroes. He's like an Avenger, man. It is that level. Look at this. I mean, that shot said it right there. It's just everyone is wearing number 17, every single one, or number 16 for what he wore for the Samurai Japan uniform in the WBC. Like even when they played the exhibition against the Yomiuri Giants, they're the Yankees of NPB, the oldest franchise, and they have the iconic black and orange. There were Yomiuri Giant fans that had YG blue and white hats, okay, which is seems sort of blasphemous, right? Yes. It seems very odd, but all because people just, again, they want to feel a part of the experience that is Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he has kind of this clutch on a baseball-obsessed country, and it really is special to watch. I mean, but at the same token, the flip side, as Roflo, I know you and I, we always try to remind folks that these players, Rec, when he was playing, he wasn't just a player, he was a person, right? He's human. But given what Shohei Ohtani has done and what he has accomplished, he's sort of forfeited the normal, typical human experience. And so, I do feel for him in that way. But the way that he sort of is able to compartmentalize and just kind of focus on, the next pitch in front of him is pretty mind-blowing. But he walks a different earth.
Look, Steve, you mentioned it earlier. I think maybe it was even Roflo that mentioned you have some roots in Japan, and this isn't your first time visiting, right? So
right.
Can you tell us a little bit about what this experience has been like specifically? What have you done away from the field? And give us I guess let the people at home know what it's really like to be there, to see the fans, but then to see even away from the baseball field as well.
Yeah, I definitely am so grateful for the opportunity to come back. 2023 in the World Baseball Classic was my first time here, and I ain't ashamed to say that I basically begged for that assignment because I'd never been. I'd only really heard stories of my motherland, and so to get the opportunity to go down south to Kumamoto, which is in the southern part of the country where my ancestors are from, and be there with my mom and dad and my wife and our oldest son at the time. Was just a really stirring experience. And then to make our way up to Tokyo for the games, I remember calling the games in the Tokyo Dome for the WBC, and I had to have my hand on the cough button because I was so overwhelmed with emotion, just the experience. I mean, I think folks watching on TV, sometimes you could get a sense for the atmosphere that is, every single game in Japan. It's just a really unique and cool experience. And so being there in person for the first time, I was expecting it, but I wasn't expecting to get hit with the wave of emotions that I was hit with. So coming back this time, being able to explore Tokyo a little bit more, because last time we were 2 games a day, we really didn't have a lot of tourism time, has been really cool. I mean, this is nice. It's just an amazing country. I'm eating well, I tell you that.
There you go. There you go.
But no, personally, it's just been a really special experience. And if you get the chance to come to this country, I really do think it's a life-changing visit.
Well, Nelly, we appreciate you joining us. Enjoy the game a little bit later tonight there in Tokyo. And thanks for the time, man. Congratulations on all your success. Good chatting with you.
I miss you guys, and thanks so much for having me on, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Thanks, Nelly. That's Dodgers broadcaster and our former colleague here at MLB Network.
東京が今、震えている大リーグ開幕戦、東京シリーズがついに幕を開け、あの野球界の至宝、大谷翔平がロサンゼルス、ドジャースのユニフォームに身を包み、日本のファンの前に降臨したのだ。東京ドームは連日満員御礼、世界中の視線が日本の首都に注がれ、東京の夜はまさに野球の祭典、一色で染め上げられている。この特別なシリーズは単なる開幕戦にとどまらない、野球を超えた日米文化交流の象徴ともいえる一大イベントなのだ。そんな中、米大リーグ専門局の記者たちが続々と来日し、その盛り上がりを本国アメリカへ熱く伝えている。中でも、記者テイラー・マクレガー氏は、現地の異様な熱狂ぶりに衝撃を受け、まるで日本全土が大谷翔平に飲み込まれているようだ、と表現。世界的スターである大谷の人気は凄まじく、彼女が冗談めかして他の日本人選手と世界的歌手を比較すると、大谷は別格だ、と本人たちさえ認めるほどである。もちろん、シカゴ、カブスに所属する鈴木誠也や今江翔太といった日本人スターも絶大な支持を受けている。特に鈴木誠也は幼い頃から東京ドームで試合を観戦していたという背景があり、自分がメジャーリーガーとしてその同じ場所に立つことに特別な誇りを感じていると述べた。観客席には鈴木誠也と大きく刻まれたユニフォームを着たファンがあふれ返り、その光景は日本人選手の底知れぬ影響力を物語っている。だが、いかに日本人選手が人気とはいえ、その全てを凌駕する存在が他でもない我らが大谷翔平なのだ。街中はもちろんのこと、公式グッズショップに足を踏み入れれば、その異次元の人気ぶりが肌で感じられる。大谷の名が刻まれたユニフォーム、帽子、タオルに記念バッジ、特設ショップは早朝から長蛇の列が形成され、そこに並ぶ商品は次々とファンの手に渡り、瞬く間に売り切れてしまう。中には1着数10万円を超える超限定品さえあり、手に入れるためにファンは惜しげもなく財布を開くのだ。あるファンは涙ながらに、これを手に入れることが人生最大の喜び、と語り、また別のファンは、大谷のグッズを身につけるだけで人生が輝いて見えると興奮を隠さない。もはや大谷翔平という存在は単なるスポーツ選手を超え、人々の心に希望と勇気をもたらす生きる伝説として君臨しているのである。また別のリポータースティーブン・ネルソン氏も現地の空気を伝えている。彼は日系人として母国である日本を再訪し、その熱狂ぶりをビートルズと世界的歌姫が同時に来日したような凄まじさと表現。東京ドームで行われた事前練習には1万人を超える観客が詰めかけ、ただ選手がストレッチをする様子を見るためだけにファンが押し寄せたという。ネルソン氏自身もあまりの熱気に言葉を失い、感動で涙を抑えられなかったほどだ。そのネルソン氏も、大谷翔平はもはや人間ではない、彼はスーパーヒーローだと語るほど、大谷は日本中で神格化された存在となっている。空港でバスが通り過ぎるだけでファンは歓声を上げ、大谷の顔が見えただけで街が歓喜に包まれる。彼が動くところすべてが大イベント化しているのだ。そしてこうした熱狂は決して偶然ではない。大谷は今や米国野球史を塗り替え、打者としても投手としても歴史的な偉業を次々と達成してきた。二刀流という異次元のスタイルで全米を席巻し、世界のスポーツ史に名を刻んでいる。その大谷が満を持たしてドジャースという最強チームの一員となり、再び日本の地に降り立った。その意味は計り知れない。野球大国である日本のファンにとって、米国のメジャーリーグで日本人がここまで絶対的な評価を受けることは誇りであり夢であった。その夢を具現化し続ける男こそが大谷翔平である。彼は単なる選手を超え、日本人としての誇り、希望、 そして勇気そのものなのである。さらにこの東京シリーズでは日本球界を代表するもう一人の英雄、山本由伸投手が登板する。山本はオリックス時代から圧倒的な存在感を放ち、数々の記録を樹立してきた。今回彼がメジャー初登板を果たすこのシリーズに、ファンは大谷に匹敵する熱い期待を寄せている。また近い将来メジャー入りが確実視される佐々木朗希投手の名も熱狂的に叫ばれ、もはや東京シリーズは日本人選手の祭典とさえ呼ばれるようになっている。しかしやはりその中心に君臨するのは我らが英雄大谷翔平だ。彼が一球投げるたびに、彼が一振りするたびに、東京ドームは熱狂と感動に包まれる。ファンは息を飲んでその奇跡の瞬間を見つめ、大谷が生み出す新たな伝説を待ち続ける。さあファンの皆さん、今こそ目を見開き、大谷翔平という伝説の続きを目撃しようではないか。東京シリーズはまだ始まったばかり。これから幾多の名場面が生まれ、幾多の記録が塗り替えられていくことだろう。我々はその奇跡の証人となるべきなのだ。大谷翔平が日本に降り立ったこの歴史的瞬間を絶対に見逃してはならない。今こそ全ての試合を見届け、その偉大なる伝説の証人となれ。